Welcome to Module 108, Goalkeeper Distribution. Using 5 zones as a framework, this module will teach you how to make smarter decisions when distributing as a goalkeeper. Before we begin, please take a minute to read over the very important context for this module. With that helpful context, let's continue on. The first zone we see here is the play around zone, which some may refer to as the circulation zone. When you play into this zone, you are not breaking any lines of the defense, meaning you aren't playing it beyond any players on the opposing team. Here are some additional things to think about with the play around zone. The next zone here is the play through zone. The key difference between this and the play around zone is that you are playing through the front line of the opposing team, eliminating players with the pass. Here are some things to think about with the play through zone. Next, we have the play into zone. The key difference compared to the play through zone is that you are clipping a ball over the front line for this zone. Here are some things to consider for the play into zone. Next, we have the play onto zone. One key difference from the play into zone is the body shape of the player who could be receiving it, as a play onto ball will typically be knocked down for a support pass or flicked on, compared to a play into pass that is usually taken with an open body shape. Here are some additional pieces on the play onto zone. Last, we have the play beyond zone. A ball into this zone clears all lines of the opposing team, and ideally sends one of your attacking players into a dangerous area close to the opponent's goal. Here are a few pieces on the play beyond zone. Now that you've learned a little bit about the zones, let's watch some in-game examples. Here we see the highlighted player for the white team in possession. As she plays a support pass back to the goalkeeper, we can see the goalkeeper taking a couple of touches and not seeing any great options to play beyond, into, or through. As we learned, playing around is a good way to create imbalances in the opposition in order to create options going forward. So, we can see the goalkeeper playing it out wide, and as the player receives it and takes a few touches, we can see that these 3 players for the black team have been pulled out. Recognizing this, we see the player in possession exploiting their shape and breaking lines with the pass. So, by being patient and playing around, the white team has successfully advanced the ball up the field. Here, we again see the ball with the defender for white, who is playing a support pass. As it is received by the goalkeeper, we can see that the red team is pressing high up the field, with these 3 players making it risky to try and play around. While a play into ball to this player could also work, we will see the goalkeeper playing through to this player. In doing so, we can see that 3 attackers for the red team are eliminated with a quick turn by the player. Here, we again see the highlighted player for the white team playing a support pass into the goalkeeper. As she receives it, we can see a couple of players for the black team sliding out, discouraging them to play around, and no players for the white team in this area to receive a play-through pass on the ground. So, we will see the goalkeeper playing it into this player, clipping a ball over the top of the front line of the opposing team. In doing so, opposing players are eliminated with a positive touch forward from the receiving player. Here we see the goalkeeper for the red team taking the goal kick. At this point, we can see there are not any clear options to play around, through, or into, and a gap exists behind the midfield line for the white team. As we continue, we can see that the goalkeeper plays a play onto ball, sending it into space between the opposing backline and midfield line, which initially was quite large before it had been played, allowing her attacker to locate it and try and combine. A play onto ball, as we have seen here, can be effective when space exists in front of the opposing back line for a ball into an attacking player. In this last clip, we see the ball with the highlighted goalkeeper for the blue team. As he takes a touch, we see him deciding to play it long. It is possible that he was trying to play a play onto ball, but the scenario is a good example showing some cues around a play beyond ball. A play beyond ball is most effective when the back line is playing high, leaving space into which your attackers can run. In this case, we can see that the white team has 5 defenders quite deep, leaving minimal space behind them. So, if the ball were to be played beyond them, it would be easy for the goalkeeper to come out and intercept it. In the lesson, we'll look more into a play beyond ball, as well as the other types. Please move on when you're ready. Before jumping into things, please review the context for this module. We added number 6, so be sure to read that over. Here we see a goal kick for the blue team. Based on what we learned, which distribution option is better? Correct. In the video, we learned that the play-through zone utilizes a ball on the ground that breaks lines of the opposing team. We can see that there are no players available for this type of distribution, with all options likely ending in an interception. We can also see that the opposing team is in a compact shape, and it's important to understand that playing around can be effective in disorganizing the defense and creating imbalances and gaps in their shape. As mentioned in the context, we won't go through all of the zones for each scenario, but we encourage you to think about them on your own. As we continue, we can see that playing around has shifted the white team around and is creating spaces in their shape. As the ball is played back to the goalkeeper, we now see this picture. Based on the cues that we looked at in the video, which of the 2 options is better at this moment? Correct. Clipping a ball into one of these players would be very difficult given the positioning of the opponent. More importantly, a play-through pass to this player would break the press of the white team, eliminating the 2 attacking players. Before moving on to the next scenario, take a moment to think about what other types of passes may be appropriate in this scenario. In this scenario, we see the ball with the highlighted center back for the blue team. Continuing for a moment, we see him play it to the left center back, who, sensing pressure, plays it back to the goalkeeper. At this moment, based on what we've learned, which option is better? Correct. Let's zoom out and look at the decision. We can first see that the back line is sitting fairly deep. As we learned, this does not suggest a play beyond ball to be played, as there is not much room behind it to play. A play into ball, however, could be a good option here, as we see a fairly large gap between the front line and the midfield line, and more importantly, space in these areas wide to play a ball clipped into the feet of one of the players. Before moving on to the last scenario, take a moment to think about what other zones might be good in this scenario. In this last scenario, we see the goalkeeper at the bottom of the screen taking a goal kick. As he plays it into the play around zone, we see the ball return to him. At this moment, based on some of the cues we learned in the video, which option is better? Correct. This is not to say that a play through ball couldn't work, but let's focus on the reasons why play onto is likely the better option. When deciding on which zone to utilize, it's important to understand the risk and the reward. While a play through could potentially work, it's a very high risk, with one of these players easily intercepting it and being in on goal. The clear cue here for the play onto zone is the vast amount of space that exists in front of the back line for the white team. By playing onto this space, the goalkeeper gives the attacking players a good chance to win the ball. As always, take a moment to think about the other options and some of the pros and cons before moving on to the quiz.